Good morning. Really can't see a thing at this time of day. Do you do that thing where you wake up and if you put your glasses on straight away, you've got to wear them for the whole day? But if you put them on until a bit later, your eyes sort of adjust to stuff and you don't have to wear them as much? Put them on first thing, and now literally I'm like this. Who am I? Where am I? Which room are we in? Thank you for liking and subscribing. Do keep doing that. It's amazing. The numbers are going up like sort of in virtual real time. And it's so good to hear that people are sharing the word and, reading the comments. There's some really good, healthy debate going on out there and some really good ideas coming up. I mean, if only the government would listen to even 10% of what you guys are saying, we'd be in a significantly better place. But of course they don't, because they're not interested in what we say. So the welfare reform bill is obviously top of everybody's agenda. It's all over the news. There's talk of Keir Starmer being weak, of U-turning, of not knowing his arse from his elbow, that kind of stuff. I mean, they're not obviously saying it like that, but that's what they mean. And so many things are popping into my head. It's like fireworks night going on in there. The first one is, here we are again, another example of not listening, of not reading the room. Are we surprised that we are where we are today, given what people have been saying for the past year? Now, whether you're in support of this welfare bill or not, what is undeniable is the fact that it hasn't been thought through. What is undeniable is it has been rushed like every other manifesto pledge and policy that this government has introduced. It's all been going fast and furious. We're going to deliver for change. We're going to do this. I mean, as my mum would say, like a bull in a china shop. And then we've got to the bit, we've broken all the china and gone, oh, we've got nothing to eat off. And as I say, wherever you stand on this is almost irrespective. What we're seeing is a government who hasn't thought anything through. And then what we're seeing is as they're thinking it through, they're going, oh, you could apply that to that one. What I've just said there in support of this one actually works for that one. Oh, so if that one's not doing that, then this one's not going to work. And that's where the double standards and the two tiers start to be created, because we're not doing for one what we're doing for another. We're talking so passionately about one group, but yet ignoring the exact same ramifications on another group of people. So with the welfare bill, I'll read you a few bits of what Rachel Maskell said, a very impassioned speech in the Commons yesterday. She said, if we can afford not to have a wealth tax, not to equalise capital gains and not to draw on the excess profits of corporate greed, we can afford PIP for a disabled person. We must clear the waiting times, prevent people falling out of work, get physio to the injured, hold employers to account for their failings, and make them open doors in assessment. We need to look at not just what somebody cannot do, but empowering what they can do. We should optimise health and opportunity and take a public health approach with social prescribing and advancing adaptive technology. Why not have a bridge between what we have now and what we are heading at the end of this process, so that nobody falls through the net? Now, this is massively important to me. Why not have a bridge between what we have now and what we are heading at the end of this process, so that nobody falls through the net? And you know what I'm going to say, don't you? You know exactly what I'm going to say. VAT on education. There is no bridge. And the disabled kids in education that Rachel Maskell is so, passionately fighting for, disabled adults in society, exactly what she's saying to those disabled adults in society is happening to disabled children in education. They didn't even get to the front bit of the bridge. They didn't even get to put their first foot on it to walk over the bridge to a good education. They fell off at the very first hurdle. And these people that are voting for PIP for adults voted against children, disabled children, with the VAT and education policy. They voted for VAT on education, knowing that those very same disabled children are being penalised in exactly the same way that adults are. Now, there's your two tiers. There's your hypocrisy. It's okay for one group, but it's not okay for another. We didn't think it through for them, and we're not thinking it through for them. There has been no impact assessment on any of the policies. Any of them. Nothing. They've been rushed through. So when we go, it was the Tories, it was the past 14 years, they need to apologise. What in the name of God were Labour doing, sitting on the opposition in those back benches? Were they just sort of like playing Sudoku and Candy Crush? Were they planning their next freebie? Or were they actually learning how to govern? Were they learning the mistakes of the Tories that they keep blaming the Tories for? It was all their fault. They did it wrong. They completely screwed it up. Why weren't they learning so that if that magical day came when they were in power, they wouldn't make the same mistakes? But straight away, the Tories, who were vilified for all of their freebies, the first thing we have is Taylor Swift, free clothes, free glasses, and so it goes on. Free flats, backhands here. Have you seen the biggest donations to the Labour Party? I mean, that's a really good one to look into. If you really want to look at who steers the ship, have a look at who's made the big donations in the Labour Party. You might be quite surprised. And have a look at their links and links to other companies. So it's really interesting but terrifying that the people in charge of the ship at the minute that are running our country have spent 14 years effectively sitting on the backbenches, slagging them off, telling them everything they're doing them wrong, telling them how rubbish they are, going straight in for the kill with absolutely no meat on their bones. They have got no idea how to do this. I mean, people call it student union politics, and I think that is deeply offensive. Having a 17-year-old that will soon be going to university, he could wipe the floor with this lot. And he could wipe the floor not only verbally, but also mentally, because he has the capacity to see out of the room and outside of just one particular standing point, which is Labour's way. He has the capacity to see people in their entirety and see what would happen, what the knock-on effects were. Because I've taught him from day dot, it's like dominoes, guys. Everything you do, all of your actions have consequences. And they may be good, they may be bad, but you can guarantee that whatever you do, it's going to touch the next one, that's going to touch the next one, that's going to touch the next one, that's going to touch the next one. And if it's negative, they will all fall. So they've learnt that, they know that. So do not call it student union politics. It is absolutely doing a disservice to the students. This is not even politics. This is just elbowing, pushing around. This is agendas and own political incentives being played out on you and me. And when I heard all these impassioned speeches yesterday, all I could think was, you're two-faced. You're so two-faced. You couldn't do it for the kids. You couldn't do it for the farmers. You couldn't do it for the pensioners. So why can you pluck out, cherry pick which group you're going to support whilst ignoring all the others? You have to have consistency. And in this government, there is absolutely none. So mull on that as all the news comes out today. Listen to all of these sound bites, listen to all of these rebel MPs and say to yourself, hang on a minute, why didn't you apply that to the WASPy women? Why didn't you apply that to the pensioners? Why didn't you apply that to the farmers? You know, and whether you agree with all of those individual policies, what we must agree with is that there does need to be consistency. And there is none. So it'll be a good little exercise today. I'm going to be doing it. Every time I hear a soundbite, I'm going, but you didn't do that then. No. Okay. The other good news is it's grey here. It's cooler. I can cut the grass. Yes.